All right, guys, check me out. I'm gonna tell y'all how to do small lettering whenever you're stitching onto hats, and it's pretty easy whenever you decide that you want to just use the Swiss font, because the Swiss font is the only font that doesn't run a whole lot of different runs and a whole lot of different satin stitches in order to make the font shaped however it needs to be. So the Swiss font is easy. The only rules that you have are you have to, one, take out the underlay of it. Here, let me ungroup this. One, you have to take out the underlay. Two, you have to change your stitch type from standard to bean, which is right over here. So here, take out the underlay. Then here, you change from standard. You're going to change that standard to bean. That's going to give you more legible lettering whenever they're this small. So I've changed it to bean. I've taken out the understitch or the underlay, and then I change my percentage of my push-pull composition. Usually it's at none. You see what it's like right there. So you see how it's thinner. You're gonna want to change that and change the percentage to 150. And you see it grow and get fatter. Now these rules are what's gonna help your stitch out be cleaner and more legible whenever you are putting it onto a hat, especially a structured hat. But there's another deal. So whenever you're working with fonts like this one is the Arial font, it puts all sorts of different satin stitches into the design, and it puts all sorts of different runs into the design. And you can kind of see all these different satin stitches and runs in here. You can see one right there, one right here. And whenever this stitches out, it's going to give fat parts on your letter, especially since we increased the percentage of the push and pull. And it's going to make your letters look messy. It really doesn't do anything whenever your lettering is large. You don't have to worry about it. Like a ½ inch tall and taller, you don't really have to worry about it. But whenever you're running smaller lettering, it really stands out bad. And you can see I already have taken out those extras in this part, the JK foundation. I've already taken all the runs out of it. I've taken out the extra satin stitches, and that's gonna make it so that this stitches out clean. Now the doesn't have that done yet. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. I select it with my selection where I can resize, not my transform button whenever I wanna change it. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna break up text. Now I broke up the text, and you'll see right here, it puts them in groups of the letters. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do on group. So I've now on grouped that into tiny pieces of each piece. So what I'm gonna do is go through and I'm gonna delete all these runs. You see that run? I'm gonna go through them so that you can see where they are in inconvenient places where they really don't need to be, especially on a structured hat. See that tiny satin right there? I'm gonna delete that and stretch this satin across so that I'm not bunching up right there. That's another run. That's another run. I'll probably delete that satin and stretch this one up tall so that it's all one. All this is going to come out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Usually I would select all these runs at once and then just hit the delete button to save time, but I'm holding my phone with one hand and doing it with the other, so I can't use the command button real good, so that I can do it all at once. So I'm going through and I'm deleting all these runs. And you can see the picture clearing up. You can see the space clearing up, right? So now go back to the top. And I'm going to delete that small satin right there. I'm going to delete this small satin. Then I'm going to go ahead and stretch this one over. I'm going to stretch this one up a little bit just to make sure that they overlap and I don't have a gap. I think this one can come just a little bit more. And I'm just going to keep on deleting these small ones. Go ahead and stretch that up. Stretch this one over. That one can go. Stretch it back up. And you're just recreating these letters without all the extra that isn't necessary. Right? So I've got all that changed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my transform button. And what I'm going to do is move my start and end points so that I'm not leaving these big old gaps in the threads. Stretching out, you see how it's changing them? You got these ones stretching across. And see, it's from where you're ending to your next start point, which my next start point is right here. And I am actually going to move this satin down. Oh, wait. Let me show you. I'm going to reorder it so that it's not jumping all the way across my E. Now it's going from the end of that H to that part of my E. I go here and I am going to change these start and finish points. Change this start and finish point.